I told you that you'd be familiar with these guys. And yes, I did listen to the responses, and I've added more SpongeBob. So check this out. Jellyfish are the first Cnidarian that we're going to discuss. And if you look at this, this is sort of the ubiquitous jellyfish that people think of. It's pink, it has this umbrella shape, and then it has these tentacles that come down. And fun fact, a lot of people think that the jellyfish from SpongeBob are based off of this guy, because he's just the most common one that you think about. But he's actually in the Mediterranean. This guy is nowhere near Bikini Bottom, which is off the coast of Hawaii. And yes, Bikini Atoll is a real place, so SpongeBob is set at the bottom of that reef. But what you will find there are spotted jellyfish, meaning that these spots on the jellies in SpongeBob, those are accurate. Those are supposed to be there because they're modeled after spotted jellyfish. Pretty interesting, I think. My favorite jellyfish, however, are these moon jellies for two reasons. One, they have these cute little moon shapes on the tops of them, which you can see when you look at them in the water. But another really interesting thing about them is that they don't sting, so you can pick them up. I've never gotten to, but it's still pretty interesting. Next up, we're going to talk about one you'll probably also be familiar with, and that's coral. I don't have a lot to say about coral besides that they make up sort of the basis of all reefs. The reason why is that they have a lot of limestone in their skeletons, so they make a good substrate for other things to latch onto. This is brain coral. I bet you can't guess why they call it that. And then we have sea anemones. It's pronounced anemone, not, anemone, not anemones, like I thought they were for half my life. These are the little things that Nemo lives in. We've talked about this already, how they have a sort of commensal relationship. The clownfish can stay in there and be protected by the anemone, which is mildly poisonous to other species of fish. And then we have hydras. These guys you might not know so much about. I've labeled one here. It's good to know the general structure of these guys because they're actually very common, even though you might not think they are. They are all over the ocean. So here we have their tentacles. And then they also have this gastrovascular cavity. Think of this as its stomach and also its main sort of body cavity where everything happens. This is the basal disc. This attaches to some kind of substrate to keep them in place. And then there is the mouth and anus. That's right. Hydras have a two-way digestive system, like all Cnidarians, which means that they have to eat something, then digest it, then spit it out. More on that later. But first, let's talk about the last Cnidarian that I'd like to discuss, the Portuguese man-of-war. Man-of-wars aren't actually jellyfish, even though they look a lot like them, but they do still have a lot of similarities. They have this thing on top, which isn't a jellyfish cone. It's more of a balloon that it can blow up and float along the surface. It also has these tentacles here that it suspends downward in order to catch food. They have these poisonous cells on them that we're also going to discuss in more detail. And it traps food inside of them and takes it up to eat it. Those are our examples of different Cnidarians. Now let's get into some specifics about their anatomy.